If you own a Garmin heart rate monitor, I want to show you a couple resources that are available on the Garmin dashboard that'll help offset the chances of any injury. Give me just a couple minutes to explain. Hi, I'm Coach Rob. If you have followed me for any period of time, you know I'm a huge advocate for the Garmin dashboard and the Garmin watches. I'm not a brand ambassador, I don't get paid by Garmin, but I do have a responsibility for all of our subscribers and all of our clients to have access to the best resources that are available. In this video, I want to share with you how we use the Garmin to avoid an injury. If you stick around to the end of the video, I've got a link to 2 other videos that I've put together relevant to Garmin. And I think when you put all these together, you're going to start to realize the power of Garmin and most importantly, how it will facilitate you getting leaner, stronger, and faster, not in a shorter period of time from a shortcut standpoint, but just maximizing your productivity. When we look at the various assets that are available here on Garmin, a lot of people are not aware of the gear feature. So for example, when you purchase a new pair of shoes, let's say that you're a runner, you can go in to the equipment list right here and you can update the shoe that you purchased and you can actually set it as your default. Now the reason why that becomes important as setting as a default is I strongly recommend if you're a runner, purchase 2 pairs of shoes and rotate them. You'll get twice as much mileage out of each pair of shoe because when you give it a couple days to decompress, the cushioning of the shoe improves. What I want to come back to is regardless of your sport of choice, when you put the equipment into this dashboard, you're able to see how many miles, how many hours, how many kilometers you've put on this individual product. We all are very, very busy, and a lot of times we don't recognize how long we've had a particular piece of equipment until we start to become injured. If I come back and utilize the running, when I pick up a phone consultation with somebody and they say, Rob, out of nowhere my knees have started to hurt. And I always ask them, when was the last time you replaced your shoes? How many miles do you have on your shoes? They go, I don't know. When you start You get your new equipment, you put it into your equipment dashboard. When you start your run, it automatically will put the mileage on that shoe. I mentioned earlier, I am a big advocate of you buying 2 pairs of shoes, and all you have to do is set the default to the shoe. So I call it shoe A and shoe B. I literally, on the bottom of my shoe, I will take a black magic marker and I'll label the shoe A and I'll label the shoe B if they're exactly identical. And then every time I get to go out for my run, I just change it to the default. So what it does is it's giving you an accumulation each shoe, and you'll get twice as much mileage out of 1 pair of shoes when you rotate them with another. This isn't a shoe video that I wanted to put together. It's the idea of how many hours or miles, kilometers do you have on a piece of equipment? It's a very simple way for you to log into your dashboard and you've got an answer without even having to wonder if your numbers are remotely accurate. Another resource that's here on Garmin that you can use to help avoid an injury is by going and looking at your training status. Now the training status has to be looked at with an open set of eyes and an open mind for sure. If you're moving from off-season to pre-season, you're going to get a demerit, you're going to get a slap on the hand, you're going to be told by Garmin that you're overtraining, you're overreaching. And that's because during your off season, maybe you're doing 30-minute walks. Maybe you're going for a 1-hour walk. Average heart rate's going to be low. The stress on the body is going to be low. You transition into pre-season and you're moving, even if it's just a fundamental, what we call major muscle groups, you move into the gym and you start lifting 3 days a week. Maybe you move those 1-hour walks to 30-minute runs. Maybe you move to 3 1-hour bike rides. The idea here is Garmin is constantly looking at what you did today against what you did yesterday, 7 days ago, and it keeps going backwards. So if it all of a sudden sees your average heart rate going up, it sees your duration of time going up, it's going to give you, as I said, a demerit and say you're doing too much too soon. Well, that's because the watch doesn't have the capabilities for you to plug in periodization. If we put all of those elements aside, you've got to recognize that when the watch is telling you that you're overextending, it's because you're doing more than what the watch is accustomed to seeing you do. It's like having a coach sitting on your wrist 24/7. Now with our clients, we look at their dashboard 2 times a day. because we don't want to have somebody go 2, 3, 4 weeks and not recognize that they're overtraining either on volume and or intensity. And that's our job, is to help you identify. We look at other variables when we start to evaluate stress. Again, Garmin has a half a dozen variables on their Garmin dashboard. We have a separate analytics spreadsheet that we utilize where we go and we figure out what is the catalyst for these deviations in numbers. Because if I can answer why you have a deviation, resting heart rate, HRV, body battery, all these different recovery resources, I need to know why there's been a delta of change. It's beyond the scope of this video here today, but I did want you to understand, look at the two resources that you have available to you on Garmin, and if you utilize both of them, it really does reduce your risk of injury. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to watch this video. I've got 2 videos here at the end that are additional resources outlining what Garmin can do to improve your health, wellness, improve your speed and your endurance and your strength. But if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so, because every day we're sending out a new video answering your questions. And if you happen to have a question, we'd love to answer it. contact@coachrob.com is where everybody's sending their questions in. The number of questions that come in each week escalates, and we're really happy to see that we're able to be a resource for you guys. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoy these next 2 videos.